I'm Kim.
And I'm Anna.
We are on
week 16.
Yeah. And we need two different color markers. They're both green, so you can just do one darker.
Green.
And we need lighter green or darker green in North America. Where's North America?
Right.
And we need lighter green in Europe, which is right.
Here.
Perfect. All right. So our first card is in 1848, right down here. And we're talking about Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Can you throw them up?
Oh.
Thank you. And Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto in 1848. But we know that nothing just happens out of thin air. So let's go back in time and look at the history of Karl Marx. Karl Marx was born in 1818. Just flick that on up there. And he was born to a family that was Jewish. But at the time, if you were Jewish, you couldn't participate in a lot of commerce, a lot of selling and trading. So they became Lutherans. But later, Karl Marx claimed that he was an atheist. So throw up atheist. Okay, so what's an atheist? Do you know what an atheist is, Anna?
Someone who says that God isn't real.
Good job. Someone who says God is not real. Do we think that's true?
No.
No. And the Bible even tells us that the trees, that nature, that just being out in nature alone testifies that God is real. And so we know that every single thing around us, the fact that our heart continues to beat constantly every second that we're alive is proof that there is a God and that He is magnificent and that He has created us in an amazing way. So Karl Marx decided that he did not want to believe this, and so he went to college, and while he was in college, he joined a couple of groups that were trying to find different ways to run countries. Now, why would they be doing that? Why would they be dissatisfied with the way their country was run? Oh, he was from Prussia, too. So throw up Prussia so they can spell that. Okay, so why would they be dissatisfied? Because at the time, they generally had one king or queen, and that king or queen ruled the country until they died. And
They'd be ruling the country for a very long time.
for a very long time. And so since they were completely in charge, they weren't very considerate and concerned about the rest of the people, because why would they be? They got everything they needed. Why would they naturally be all that concerned about the people that were under them? And so they weren't. So you basically had a very high upper class, throw in some upper class people, a very, very wealthy class, and then you had the rest of the people who were basically much, much, much poorer. So you had people who were craftsmen and who were farmers and who did commerce and things like that, but they could never get ahead because you had such a wealthy class that was taking the money from them all the time. And so these people rightfully probably thought that wasn't a very cool way to have a government. And so let's talk about other types of government. So we have that, which would be a monarchy, where we have a king, very, very wealthy people, and then all the little people below them. And then we also have what we have, which is a representative republic in the United States. Can you throw up representative republic? And what we have is where each person can vote, and then they vote for someone who represents them. And so when they vote for someone who represents them, what they're doing is getting their ideas out. So we're very much into homeschooling. We just love homeschooling so much. And so when we vote, we try to vote for people who are going to continue to have homeschooling as something that can prosper in our country. We would not want to vote for someone who wanted to outlaw homeschooling. And so that would be our opinion and the way we vote. Someone else might be voting for something else, but basically we're trying to say, okay, so if I voted for Anna, I would say, Anna, I'm going to vote for you, and when you go to Washington, D.C., or to Richmond, the capital, or Austin, the capital of Texas, to do votes, I want you to vote in my way. So it makes sense. And it's also very freeing, because every 4 years, we have the right to completely get rid of our government and put in a new government. And so people in the United States can be inventive and creative, and they can think on their own because they have so many freedoms. They can do a job that they want to do. They can do so many things that they want to do. So that's another type of government. So now Karl Marx and the people he was working with, like Friedrich Engels, they started thinking of something called communism. So throw that up, please. Now, communism sounds really cool. It's that no one owns anything, but everyone owns everything. So like, Anna, that shirt looks really cute. I think I'll just take it because I own it, because everyone owns everything. It doesn't seem really cool, does it? No, when it's your stuff, it doesn't seem very cool.
It's my special shirt.
So you've got the government owns everything. The government owns your house. It owns your car. It owns all the farmland. And then the government makes decisions. And so it's supposed to be where if you can't work that much, it's okay. The government will take care of you. But if you can work really hard, then you should work really hard because you're all working together. And it sounds really cool, except for the fact that communism is run by humans. And humans by nature go back to old systems, and they're by nature they want to have control. And so Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx wrote this book called The Communist Manifesto, and many different countries, such as Russia, decided to implement this, and it was very, very bad for their country because millions and millions of people died because it is such a poor system of government. So what happens is the government dictates everything to the people. In general, when they tell people to do something that's not, like, a lot of times they would tell bankers and people like that to go out and be farmers, but they didn't have any experience in that. So the crops would fail, and they would tell farmers to do something else, but they didn't have experience in that. And then the people they just didn't feel the investment to work as hard as they could have, perhaps, or they couldn't because of the odd jobs that they were being given to do. And so it just caused so many issues. And then also, as human nature would have it, the top people, once again, they got all the money, and the lower people did not so much. So communism is a very, very failed system of government. People keep on trying it because they always think, oh, it's going to be so great. We're going to work together and everything's going to be okay. But it never does because it's going against the way God created us. God created us to be free and love freedom. God created us to be adventuresome and be intelligent and learn and create and be alive and vibrant. And when we're told that we have to do something and it's just very dictated exactly what we're going to do, that doesn't allow us to express ourselves as God intended. So Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, basically, throw them up there. They wrote this book. It was used by many people, and it had horrible results. It led to the death of millions of people, and it was just a completely failed system. And the vibrancy that you see on the free side, I think the Berlin Wall is a really good example. After World War II, they put up a wall in Berlin, and the communist side was on one side and the free side was on the other. And the free side, they graffitied it, but it was beautiful with colors and people's faces. And it was just this beautiful, beautiful, you can throw it up there, beautiful, beautiful decorations and colors and all. And on the other side, it was just gray. And I think that's so symbolic of communism versus freedom. And it's important to learn more about this so that our country never goes down that road. So our next card for today is Harriet Tubman. So talk about an amazing woman.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman was born in Maryland, in Dorchester County, Maryland. And remember, that's one of my big audits. That's one of my things that bug me, that people in Maryland never think it was a slave state, but it was. And Harriet Tubman herself was from there. And she had been so abused and so beaten as a child that she was actually crippled to some degree, not completely, but she was very, very wounded. And her family had been sold off to nearby plantations, which, can you even imagine having your family sold? I mean, it's just tragic what these people would do. And so she realized that that she might be sold, or she might be traded as a person